My name's Claire Herbert. I'm a volunteer at Elgin Museum. I'm also part of the board for the Moray Society, and in my day job I'm an archaeologist with Aberdeenshire Council. The object that I've chosen today as my favourite object is an object that I don't actually know a huge amount about, but it's something that I have kind of a personal affiliation with, and it just sort of brings back fond memories when I see it tucked away down in the back corner of the museum. So we've got two glass beads here. They are black and yellow glass beads. They're triangular in shape. They are classed as Class 13 by the Guido classification, and they are predominantly found in the northeast of Scotland, largely in Aberdeenshire and on the Moray Firth. And there is supposedly a bead-making centre focused around the Culbin area, and probably another one in Aberdeenshire. Talking earlier today with others in the museum, we were thinking about how these coloured glass beads are actually made and how are we getting yellow colour into the glass. We don't have naturally occurring sources of things like sulphur or arsenic and things like that, so it's quite sort of a mystery at the moment as to where these resources are coming from, and it's most likely that they're having to be brought in from elsewhere. So there's real evidence of trading going on, both in terms of materials coming in, but also the distribution of these beads going out the way. So they're often found as far away as Inverness and further south in Scotland as well. My first job in archaeology was in 2005. That was my first professional paid job as a real archaeologist. We were working on the site at Kilduthel, just on the edge of Inverness. It's a big housing development. We were working on a roundhouse that we could only do half of it because the other half was cut by a section of the site that we weren't allowed to excavate, so we had a semicircle of post holes. I was basically head first in the bottom of one of these post holes, excavating it, and sort of leapt back in shock at something that I found that I thought was a funny little yellow grub. And when I went back down into the hole to have another look, I realised it wasn't a little yellow grub, it was a beautiful glass bead, triangular, black, with these yellow spirals on each of the triangle faces. So that's the first object that I found as a professional archaeologist. And I took the object out the hole and I hid it in my hand and marched across site to my site supervisor. I told him to close his eyes and put his hand out, and I put this little glass bead in his hand, and he was absolutely blown away and actually said that all finds from now on had to be delivered in that way to him so he could appreciate them. And it's just a marvellous little object, and to even think how we would try and make this today with all of the technology that's available, but to think about how this was made. This is an Iron Age glass bead. To think how people have made this during the Iron Age without technology, having to do everything by hand, forging all the materials by hand. It's just, there's so much person effort that goes into making this. For it then to be worn as a real symbol of someone's power, prestige, because it's not a low-skilled object, it's a highly skilled object that's been made. And it's just a fascinating little piece, and I hope you also come and appreciate it here in the museum.